You know LG OLED TVs have an EVO tier, gets higher brightness, gets the better panel with the most advanced processing. Now, the company's UltraGear series of OLED gaming monitors has also received an EVO branding. It's called the LG UltraGear EVO, and this represents the company's drive towards 5K class resolution or higher. So there are 3 5K class monitors that is being launched at CES 2026 under the UltraGear EVO umbrella, and you can see 3 of them here. This is probably the hero model because this is a 39-inch OLED. This is a mini LED display, whereas this is a 52-inch VA display. But let's circle back to the hero model because that's, to me and to many of you out there, would be the most important because it is so long awaited. This is a 39-inch OLED with a 5K 2K or 5120 x 3160 resolution. It is capable of a refresh rate of 165 Hz, but with dual mode, this can be increased to 330 Hz at the expense of resolution, so the resolution will drop to 2560 x 1080. Crucially, the panel being used in this 39GX950B would be a latest, most advanced Primary RGB Tandem OLED panel 2.0 that is supplied by LG Display. This means that it is capable of a peak brightness of 1500 nits on small window sizes, and it has been certified as Display HDR True Black 500, which means that it is capable of at least 500 nits on a 10% window and 300 nits full screen. The monitor's other strength would be its AI upscaling, and let me explain to you why it is important. With a 5K 2K resolution, the advantage you get is that you get a more detailed picture for more immersion when you play games. But remember, to drive a high resolution with equally high refresh rate from a GPU, it is very taxing, and sometimes you have to strike a good balance between both. Now, with the 5K 2K AI upscaling on the monitor, it is an on-device chip. What you can do is that you can lower the resolution output from your GPU and depend on the on-device AI upscaling on the monitor itself to perform the magic to create a sharper picture with more detail. And it is quite easy for me to demonstrate it here because this is a demonstration that has been set up by LG for the 39GX950B OLED monitor, where the output from the GPU somewhere hidden underneath here, presumably, would be 1080p. It is actually of a resolution of 2560 x 1080. And this half would be displaying it natively without AI upscaling. But this half here is applying the AI upscaling on the scene itself. So hopefully you can see that the leaves, the detail here looks a bit blurrier and softer compared to the leaves here, which has had AI upscaling applied by the chipset on the monitor itself to sharpen it without creating too much noise. And obviously, I think the easier way for us to do it would be to zoom in, where you can see the pavement, the texture. It's a bit blurrier, it's a bit softer, it's a bit mushier. But with the AI upscaling, which I've been told doesn't add any increased latency, actually, just creates a more believable, more convincing, more realistic kind of image for you to actually enjoy without taxing your GPU too much. So you can enjoy high refresh rate and also a very detailed picture. Other features of this LG 39GX950B would be its full bandwidth USB R20 DisplayPort 2.1 that is capable of the full 80 gigabits per second of DisplayPort bandwidth. This means that you can play games at these resolutions without needing to use DSC, which for some reason I know some of you dislike. And it also has 2 HDMI 2.1 ports as well as a USB-C port with 90-watt power delivery. Obviously, being a Primary RGB Tandem OLED panel, it has the perfect black and perfect color consistency certification from UL and Intertek, and DCI-P3 color gamut coverage is up to 99.5%, and delta errors and color accuracy has been tuned at factory to be less than 2. Okay, let's move on to Mini LED, because this model here, it is a 27-inch model, basically Retina class. It has a 5K resolution of 5120 x 2880. It is the first mini LED model from LG under its UltraGear umbrella, and it is capable of a refresh rate of 165 Hz, but it also supports dual mode, which can bump it up to 330 Hz at QHD resolution. And crucially, it supports VESA Display HDR 1000 and DisplayPort 2.1, some USB-C ports as well. But another thing that I need to mention about this monitor, because being mini LED, mini LED monitors or display models usually are prone to blooming artifacts because the light is controlled in zones rather than per pixel like OLED. So to combat this, LG has implemented a couple of measures. The first one would be to increase the number of local dimming zones on this 27GM950B to around 2,304 local dimming zones, and also they have applied some anti-blooming technology to try and suppress the blooming artifact so that you can see a clear picture without a lot of haloing or halation. And next we should move on to the third model under the LG UltraGear EVO brand. This is also a 5K class display. It has a 5K 2K resolution of 5120 x 2160. It is a really massive 52-inch screen with a VA-type LCD panel capable of only one refresh rate of 240 Hz. But the way LG is pitching this monitor is that it could be a replacement for a 48-inch TV that you would normally buy to enjoy an immersive gaming experience, especially at the sort of screen size. But you can now get it in 52 inches with a curvature of around 1000R, which is still not as aggressive as the 800R curvature on the 45GX950A I reviewed last year. Oh, I forgot to mention that the 5K 2K 39-inch OLED gaming monitor will have a curvature of around 1500R, which is quite subtle and doesn't really intrude too much while providing enhanced immersion. And other specs of this 52-inch UltraGear EVO monitor include VESA's Display HDR 600 certification, DCI-P3 color gamut coverage of 95%, as well as DisplayPort 2.1. Now, these are the three UltraGear EVO 5K class monitor from LG at the CES 2026. But there is also another monitor that I want to draw your attention to, because this is an OLED monitor and it is using the Primary RGB Tandem OLED 2.0 panel from LG Display, which means that it is capable of 1500 nits on a small window size and also 300 nits at least full screen. But the impressive thing about this monitor is its refresh rate. It's for those of you who really want the highest refresh rate that you can get on an OLED monitor, because this monitor has a native resolution of 2560 x 1440 on a 27-inch screen. The native refresh rate is already very high at 540 Hz, but this can be boosted to 720 Hz, which is amazing, and this allowed the monitor to receive a VESA Clear MR 21000 rating, which is mind-blowing to me. So you can just play games with supremely low input lag with very, very high motion clarity. And all this is possible because of OLED's near instantaneous pixel response time. Other specs of this monitor, again because of the Primary RGB Tandem OLED panel, include a DCI-P3 color gamut coverage of 99.5%, as well as factory calibration that promises a color accuracy with a delta error of less than 2. Now, these LG UltraGear OLED monitors are using the latest Primary RGB Tandem WOLED 2.0 panel from LG Display. To find out how that particular panel achieves higher brightness and also better color purity, please watch my coverage video by clicking here.